And here we are with the Detroit Lions news, and we have our co-host. It's just myself, Darcy Maville, the real deal Maville.
He keeps playing like that and forcing all these turnovers. I think he could maybe get his name in the conversation for defensive rookie of the year. I don't think that's crazy to say.
Joseph's really been great. 10 tackles, 2 interceptions.
At the end of the day, they escaped with a win, and you got to be happy about that.
Detroit Lions in the victory yesterday over Chicago.
You got to minimize the big plays, and I think we did that today.
All right. It looks like we're back. You ready, Coach?
Yes, I am. Hello, and welcome to the Detroit Lions News Show, our 4th edition on sorry, I forgot that. On the 20th of November. The all-time leading, they've met 47 times, and now the Detroit Lions are 25, 21, and 1 with our 3rd straight victory and our 2nd straight victory on the road today. Today we have special guests to our panel. We have a special guest host, Matt Dery, with Locked On Lions. We also have former Lion and our co-host, Mark Shmidt. Anthony Cannon might be coming on real quick. We have Stefan Logan, who still holds the longest kick return in Lions history. And we also have Mike. Let's introduce ourselves and get your promotions in. We'll go clockwise, and that would be Stefan Logan.
Start with me. How y'all doing? Stefan Logan, retired NFL player, and I played in Canada. Did 13 years of total professional football. Hey, and happy to be on the podcast. Let's get it going.
Yeah, and I'm Ben Bosher. I'm one of the co-hosts Forward Down the Field, new podcast we started up this year for the Detroit Lions. But my other co-host is in here. He'll introduce himself in a second.
Yeah, I'm Sam Goodman, the other co-host. Just really happy to get another Lions win and keep our show growing, and happy to be a part of this.
Hello, I'm Chicken Nugget King 586, and I'm happy for a Lions win.
Thanks for having me, everybody. Matt Dery from the Locked On Lions podcast. Been doing the show now for about 6-7 years at LockedOnLions.com, on YouTube, and with the Locked On Podcast Network. And I'm with all of you that this is a lot better today, talking about a 3rd straight win and an impressive win against a winning team. So thanks for having me on.
And I am Smoking Jeremy B of Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. Here talking football with all you guys. I've been doing a podcasting gig for about 2 years and now a published editorialist for the Motor City Tribune.
This is Mike with Lions Talk by Chat Sports, also Lions Nation Unite. Herman Moore's buddy, his little pal, that's my boss. Make sure you check it out, Lions Nation Unite, as well as my channel by Chat Sports.
Mark Shmidt, former NFL player, Empire Sports Network, Madison Square Garden Sports, Buffalo Bills Report, and I've become like a little bit of a mainstay on this show. So big win today. I kind of called it last night with Greg Rice. I said the Lions win by 7. They won by 12. It was a game they needed to win, and they did, and it sets up a great showdown for Thanksgiving with Buffalo.
Right on, right on. So the theme is the past, the present, and the future. Guys,
can I address the 2 comments?
Sure.
Okay. What's up, JB? Great week for football. Montana State ruined Montana. Now the Lions absolutely ruined the dang Giants, man. Let's go. And then he says, why does Matt Dery look like Tony Stewart?
Hey, Tony Stewart, the former NASCAR driver?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. All right.
No, it's kind of true. That yeah, I can see that.
I'm okay with that. I need his bank.
My wife
account.
said the head. Yeah, my wife kept saying the head official kept looking like Mark Shmidt, just without long hair. Did you guys notice that?
Did you? Come on,
That was his-
official, those old guys. Come on,
No.
Darcy.
That
Oh,
was
no.
no. He's actually a very young ref. I think he's under 40, and this is
Okay, I'll
only
take it.
this is only his sixth game with his third as the head official.
How do you guys know about the officials in their past? I mean, come
That's
on.
just what my wife said. So let's go with the most experienced. Matt, what are your thoughts on the game?
Oh, Darcy, I'll be honest with you. Today was awesome to watch, and this is exactly what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell envisioned when they took over: a physical, smash mouth, winning at the line of scrimmage type game. In the wind, at the Meadowlands, on the road. Not a great team they played today, but you know what? That's a 7-2 football team that the Lions pushed around. I mean, the offensive line was tremendous. Dan Skipper comes in for the injured Evan Brown and plays well. The D line, that's the best I've ever seen Lee McNeil play. I don't know about you guys, but he was tremendous today. Hutchinson was everywhere. They did the little things. They didn't need a high powered passing attack or any kind of arena football. This was just exactly the way they wanted to draw it up. This was a Campbell Holmes type win. And it sets up for an interesting game. Like Mark said, Thanksgiving with Buffalo, and certainly the Bills have already been in town and they've gotten their feet wet at Ford Field. But look, Buffalo's really, really good, and they've got a kid in Matt Milano on defense that just would be so perfect for the Lions to go next to Rodriguez. But I love the way the Lions are playing right now. It's been very physical. Kirby Joseph is playing well, so it was a great win today. I don't think anybody could take away from today at all. This was perfect.
Jeremy, let's go this way.
All right. Let's say they dominated the ground game. They held Barkley to 22 yards. They intercepted twice. They forced a fumble. You could not ask for a better complete game from the defense, and the offense did just enough to not shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. We ran the ball. We ate up clock. We did what we were supposed to do. That was the game plan the whole time. It's what they've been trying to do, but usually the running game, for some reason, either got shut down or someone got hurt and nothing would happen. It worked. It was a complete game, wire-to-wire finish.
Michael.
Very important for the Detroit Lions to come out and show physicality. This is something exactly what Detroit has needed to be done for the last many years. Let's talk about it here. Dan Campbell, a physical type of coach, a guy who wants to bring that intensity, and you travel on the road against the New York Giants, who are at the point at 7 wins, and you out physical them. You're able to run the football, even though we're running the football. Absolutely amazing job. Exactly what this team needs to do, because if you want to establish yourself as a competent team in the NFC North, you got to be able to be physical. This is something that I feel in the last decade we have not been. And if you look at the last 3 games, very physical football team, running the football, physical in the line of scrimmage, offense and defensive line. Fantastic job. I like the direction of this team and where it's going.
Ben, and then Sam, and then Chicken Nugget.
Yeah, I thought there's a lot of different things I thought, but I guess my biggest takeaway was I think the beginning of the season was so frustrating because it felt like we were putting ourselves in situations where we could have won a lot of games, but we didn't. And that I thought fell a lot on the coaching staff, but just like the players on this team, I think the coaching staff is learning with experience too. I thought the clock management was a lot better today. We've really struggled out of halftime recently, and I thought our first drive out of halftime was awesome. Ben Johnson had a couple great run plays. Like that entire drive got really creative with what we were doing with multiple running backs in the backfield. I thought that was interesting. I know our defense is statistically like one of the worst in the NFL when it comes to like yards given up on the ground and stuff like that. But I think that's mostly because of depth, because you look at all the guys that that Brad Holmes has drafted over the last 2 years. Kirby Joseph, Lee McNeil had a breakout game, like you guys mentioned. Pascal didn't even play today. Hutchinson, Okudah's, I mean, that wasn't a Brad Holmes guy, but he's been playing great. Rodrigo. But like, I think it's more of a depth problem why this defense is struggling. You see all these guys they're bringing in, and they're just showing out, and I love it so much. It's awesome to see. I think everyone's just getting better, including the coaching staff. They're figuring out ways to win the game, and feels like there's a lot less pressure on this team right now, and they're able to play a little more loose and relaxed. So I think that's really helped them out.
Yeah, I mean, to piggy off of what Ben said, and something that Mark Shmidt said on the first episode of this show that really stuck with me is, when the Lions were losing, it looked like they were trying to find that first win a little too much. They were working a little too hard. Didn't look like they were having any fun out there. Now, I mean, it looks like they're enjoying playing football, and sometimes at the root of it, that can be what helps you win games, is just going out there, enjoying it, making plays, and they've been doing that. They're executing on all three levels. Offensively, as somebody said, they weren't shooting themselves in the foot. On defense, they're getting off the field as much as, they're giving up a little more yardage still in the passing game that you want to see them stop, but they're getting off the field. They're creating turnovers. On special teams, they're, pinning them deep. I talk about Jack Fox so much on our show and during my live coverage of the game that I've become a little bit of a fanboy. But, we're executing at all three levels, and, it's going to keep translating to wins.
Chicken?
Yes, I did eat chicken as a victory, Screech. Obviously, I celebrated that way. But yeah, when you play a fundamentally sound football game like that and stay in the game for 60 minutes, that's when you get a lot of respect. That's when you feel like, hey, we can, go anywhere with this type of, momentum. You know what I'm saying? Because sky is the limit for this team. We can't look back now and think about earlier. We got to finish off the second half of the season with a bang. We got to finish it off the right way. And, we're 3-0 without Hockenson. And I know a lot of those people out there are going to keep on asking the questions, why did you trade Hockenson? Well, look, we made sure that we got rid of Hockenson because of the money that he wanted, and that we could free up cap space so we could go out and get players in the long haul. And I understand that that's a long way from now, but when you play like that, you get a lot of respect. And you get so much respect from the league and the fan bases that's around the league. So I'm happy about it. We just got to continue that streak against the Buffalo Bills and pull out another dub.
So this is a live interactive show, and we have two former Lions here. We'd love to get your perspective on a professional level. Talk about it, guys. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. One of the things I think what the message is going to be right now, I know what the message is going to be in that locker room. Having been a former player, the message that Campbell's going to give to these guys is going to be this. Okay, the Buffalo Bills are here. They came in, they won in our house, all right, and Sunday, but they did it against Cleveland. We're not going to let that team come into our place and win 2 games in 4 days. That's not happening, guys. That's got to be the message. I mean, he's an intense guy anyway. We know that. We know what he's all about and how he portrays, a certain image, obviously. But that's got to be the general message, okay? Then there's detailed messages along the way, of course. But now Buffalo's here. Buffalo's the team to beat in the AFC, along with Kansas City. You can't. We're on a 3-game roll right now. We're playing well. I said this before the game when I talked to Greg Rice last night. I said, listen, this is setting up to be something special. Buffalo's here. Buffalo had to get out and get out of the snow. I'm in Buffalo, FYI. So, so I hear all this stuff about what's going on with them while I'm pulling for, my team here. But, Coach Campbell's going to have that message. We're not going to let this team come into our place and win 2 games in 4 days. Not happening. And they did it. They got off on the right foot today on the road. I'm going to echo what Jeremy said, holding Barkley to 22 yards. That's incredible. Came into the game with 931 through 9 games. So he's averaging over 100 yards a game, and he's a great receiver out of the backfield. I mean, what they did today on the road was nothing short of spectacular. It's hard winning, on the road, obviously, in that league. That. We all know that. But, they really showed something today, and they set up a heck of a showdown for Thanksgiving. And, guys, you got to remember, too, in the past, there have been games where Detroit has really shined on Thanksgiving and played way above their heads. I mean, they go to New York today and they win that game. Buffalo beats Cleveland. That's fine and dandy. Okay. But that's, as a Lions fan, as a Lions player, you got to say, okay, that's where it ends. Okay. We're on a 3-game stretch here and we got 3 games, right? And we set up a showdown and we got to win every single week right now to get into the playoffs. We can't stub our toe. That can't happen anymore. That happened at the beginning of the season when the ball didn't bounce our way, lost a lot of close games that way, and now the ball is bouncing the Detroit Lions' way. So Buffalo's coming into a hell of a situation here on Thursday. I mean, if that place isn't rocking for Detroit, I mean, there's something wrong. And I'll stand by the Detroit fans because they're the best. A little better than Buffalo. Anyway, and I had to get that in. But anyway, just wanted to say that that's the message. Go ahead, take it.
Well, can I piggyback off that, Mr. Shmidt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Numbers don't lie in this game. When you stop an electric running back like Saquon Barkley, that says a lot. That dude can go inside, outside, left field, however you want. He can go down the street and go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to get an end zone. But today, our defense made a stop. We made adjustments to keep him from running big numbers and getting those large, yardage. And we made sure that we stayed on top of things and did our part because defense wins championships. How can you get in games like this with a team like this that has a record of what they have and don't show up defensively? You've got to show up defensively when you're playing the Giants.
No, absolutely. And they did, and the Giants, a lot of people said, well, they're not as good as the record indicates. And maybe they're not. Okay. The way I looked at it, and again, something I said last night, the Giants were 7-2. They're really not that good, and they're not going to run the table. I mean, they're not. They're going to stub their toe. And I said they're going to stub their toe tomorrow, and they did. They did stub their toe. And it's not about New York not playing well. It's about Detroit playing well. Okay, and that's what we're kind of looking at here. But, it was an opportunity. The season is right now with the 6 losses, every game is a playoff game. You guys know that. And they can't, they can't falter. I don't care if you play it out in the parking lot or New York City. It doesn't matter. They can't falter. They can't miss a stride. They're at home on a 3-game winning streak on Thanksgiving against a very, very good football team who just won in your park. I mean, I don't know how much better it could be considering where they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. We got a nice setup here for Thursday afternoon. I think so. You guys think so?
Yes.
Yep. So remember, this is a live interactive show. So if you have any questions, Jeremy's going to, after Stefan, Jeremy's going to some comments. Hopefully we have some good comments for the players.
I do have a good
question.
Real quick.
Stefan?
I'll say this. That was one of the most impressive wins today. The Detroit Lions surprised everybody because everybody knew that they was going into a hostile environment, playing in New York Stadium. And New York has been playing well. They've been running numbers up. They've been doing well. I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones. He's just not my guy. But I do like Saquon Barkley. So when I was flicking, I was watching the red zone. So I was flicking back and forth through the games, and I seen Detroit was up by like 12 points. I was like, oh man, this is a good game. So I clicked on and watched a little bit of it. And they've been winning. They've been losing some really, really close games. Like, they've been playing well. They just haven't been able to put it over the top. So that's what's been the struggle for them this year. But now they finally seem to be figuring out what they are. And we was talking, a couple of my guys was talking about this earlier today. You have to find the balance of your football team. Like, what type of team are you? Are you a play action team? Are you a running team? Are you a passing team? What's your goal? What's your name? So I think what they did today, like you said, they didn't stub their toe. They didn't go out and they didn't beat themselves. They just played Detroit Lions football, smash mouth football, which, the head coach, like you said, he portrays. That's what he wants. He wants smash mouth football, almost like the Steelers days back in the days. I played for both teams. And so I kind of know, that's what they want to do. They want to play smash mouth football. They want to run the ball, do a little bit of play action, get the ball down the field to some of the playmakers. So I thought that was a real impressive win today by Detroit, and I was real pleased with that win. Just by playing for them, I was happy with that victory.
Yeah. Stefan, where are you? Awesome. What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Miami, Florida, where is no snow. Only thing we had today, it was a bad day today. Only thing we had some rain all day. But other than that, the little weather we got, it was the coldest we got was was 75. That's the coldest.
You son of a bitch, because I'm in Buffalo.
Hey, lucky guy.
Okay.
Lucky guy.
When I saw the preview and they was talking about the game because Detroit was going to have to go through. I mean, Buffalo was going to have to go and play in Detroit, and I saw I said, "Oh my goodness!" And I was telling my wife, I said, "Baby, I wasn't in Buffalo, but I was in Detroit, so I know, like,
That's right.
that is cold." I say, so yeah, I'm sure, but you used to it. You I don't know if you're from Buffalo, but if you've been living there long enough, you understand. See, I'm used to this. Like,
I've been here long enough. And while we're on the subject, hey, listen, this is not just a Lions show. It's a football show. I gotta tell you, Stefan, there's one thing I love about the Miami Dolphins, and my daughter does too, and it's Jalen Waddle's the Waddle. I love the Waddle, man.
Yeah. That's a little trademark. Everybody loving it right now because they winning. They Miami. Look, I'll say this. Being from Miami, I was never a Dolphin fan. I just cheer for them because I'm from Miami, my hometown.
Right.
So, and I know people that's from Detroit. We both been battling the same thing for the past 10 years. Football team, they get good draft picks, they get this, get that, and then they just go out there and just piss down their leg. We're like, well, what's going on? We got, and it always started with the quarterback. So one guy put up some statistics. He was saying, we haven't had a quarterback. We done had 24 quarterbacks in the past 8 years. Who knows? But I always say it starts with the quarterback first. So yeah, Miami is enjoying what's going on with the Miami Dolphins, and I'm sure y'all gonna be enjoying it too with the Detroit Lions getting a great big win today against the Giants.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have one question that came in, guys. It's from Killicook. He actually wants both of you to answer. Do you like what Holmes and Campbell are doing for the Lions? And also, what are your thoughts as DC as a head coach?
I like y'all head coach, to be honest with you. I like him because he's passionate about the game. He brings a mentality of a football player. Like I not in the locker room with him, but just when I watch him on the sideline, when I heard some of his interviews, when they brought the press into the locker room and just listened to him talk, like he's so. And then what really got me to like him as a coach is when he gave a speech and he was so passionate, he got emotional about it. That right there took it for me, because that's the only way you would cry about something. If you didn't have no passion, then you don't really see it. You don't see the vision. He sees the vision. He sees with this football team the potential they have, and that's something that was very, very, very strong. And he shared tears on a football on a screen. And the D coordinator, I can't really say much about the D coordinator because I don't really know him just yet. But I know the head coach. I know that.
Yeah, I would say, listen, I became a pretty big fan of Coach Campbell. Of course, he his career obviously helps, and Stefan can kind of elaborate on this. When you play in the league, you're playing for some guys that may have or may not have played in the NFL. And, that affects everybody differently. Some guys don't care about that. Some guys do. I played for Luke Carpenter. Luke Carpenter was the receivers coach when I was in Detroit. Played 11 seasons in the NFL. Played for Green Bay and played for the Lions. And, I love playing. I didn't even know what it was like to play for somebody who didn't play in the league. Now, you have a job to do, whether your individual coach played in the league or not. You're supposed to put that aside and be professional, obviously. And that's what you need to do. But does it help as far as the message that's coming from a guy that's been there? Stefan will elaborate on. I think it helps. I think that Campbell has done that. And I think one of the things that the fans have been a little antsy about the situation, especially when they were 1-6. And, that's going to happen. And that's why I understand why the question came in the way it is. Defensive coordinators, right, it's still too early to tell whether he's capable of being an NFL coach. It's, maybe not. I don't know. It's not all about X's and O's. Stefan will tell you that. Playing for Fonts and the message he had, he was not a great X's and O's guy, but he was a great motivator. So, it's all collective, and it's so hard to win in that league, as everybody knows. But man, I think they're on the right course, and I'm not just saying that because they won today. And I like Campbell. I like the message that he puts out there. And like I said on earlier shows here, this football team, the Detroit Lions, have accumulated a ton of fans around the country that they normally would not have had because of Hard Knocks. I mean, I know a lot of people that are just tuning in to find out what this team did because they spent a ton of time watching that show. The ratings on that show in comparison with all of the other Hard Knocks programs that they've had over the last 5 years, Detroit knocked it out of the park. I mean, they destroyed those numbers. Okay, so there's a lot of fans out there that are, all of a sudden a little bit casual Detroit Lion fans, and that's great. It's all about promotions. It's all about what you can do. It's all about who shows up and who's interested, okay? If nobody's interested, well, then your product sucks, okay? Mm-hmm. People are interested in this football team. This football team has hit its stride a little bit late, but it's hit its stride. Buffalo came out of the gate with their hair on fire, okay? It's a long season. Peaking too soon happens in this league. Stefan will tell you that, okay? But at the same time, Detroit is now getting hot now. Buffalo stubbed their toe a couple of times, and now it's setting up for a great game on Thanksgiving, as I've said. But Campbell's good. I don't know enough about the DC on whether he's good enough. Just like Stefan said, I don't know. And this season isn't done yet. If this defense comes to play the way they did today, then maybe he's got a shot at being a head coach. I don't know. I have the same answer Stefan has on that. But, it's a good little roll here right now, and it's little, but it's a roll.
Well, if I can add one thing, guys. I wanted to add one thing, Darsh, real fast. Aaron Glenn is a better defensive coordinator right now because his quarterback is not throwing the football to the other team. Let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers looked like Jared Goff 3 weeks ago in the game against the Lions. Justin Fields on that tight end screen that Okuda picked off, that looked like a golf throw. Today, Daniel Jones throws that pick to Aiden Hutchinson. That's something we've been saying for weeks. Looks like a golf play. And for the last 3 weeks, Jared has taken care of the football. Pro Football Focus hasn't graded him out all that well, but he's taking care of the ball. He's not giving short fields to this defense, and that's huge. If they can continue to just limit the turnovers and win that turnover battle every week, that'll make Dan Campbell a better coach. That'll make Aaron Glenn a better D coordinator. So I just want to throw that out there.
Very true.
My next thing was actually for Matt. Since you're on a short week, and I know that you're on a limited time basis, do you have any other thoughts before you leave? Because you said you only had.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks, Darcy. I do have to go, but I do want to say this: it's everybody that is on the screen right now that is what makes this special, because this organization has been so bad for so long. Yet here we all are on a Sunday night at 7:00, chopping it up about this football team because. Winning 3 in a row and getting this done for the first time since 2017. And like Mark said, having some momentum for this fan base. Imagine what Thursday is going to be like. I know that the Bills Mafia kind of invaded us today for the Browns game, but man, that place is going to be jumping on Thursday. Those fans are dying for something. And if they can knock off Josh Allen and beat the Bills on Thursday, look out, because the schedule is pretty weak and pretty soft the rest of the way. I'm not saying playoffs, or I'm not going there yet. I still think there's some holes on this team. And they got to get Josh Pascal back. They got to get Romeo back. But man, Thursday should be awesome. So thanks for having me on, guys. Seriously, good to see all of you.
That's well said,
Thanks,
man.
Matt.
Well said.
I appreciate you.
Man, appreciate you being on.
Thanks, guys.
Yes,
Appreciate you, Matt.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt Dery is a good guy.
Micro. We haven't heard very much from Micro Mike. Do you have
yes,
something you
sir.
want to talk
First, I
about,
want to say,
Micro?
Stefan, man, your arms are giant. I wish I had the size of your arms. They scare the hell out of me. You dealt with many quarterbacks as your time in the NFL player. What do you think of Jared Goff? Do you think that he's the answer for the Lions' long-term quarterback, or do you think that potentially there's another guy that we'd look towards in the future?
I'll say this. I'm not a big fan of talking bad about players. I really don't, but I'm not a fan of Jared Goff, like at all. Like even when he was with the Rams, I wasn't a fan of him. I just don't see that fire behind him when he's out there in the game. Like I just don't see it. I'm not a fan of his at all. Like I always say it starts with the quarterback. That's me first and foremost. I always say it starts with the quarterback. That's just like when I was talking about Matthew Stafford. I said, okay, he was in Detroit. I was there with him for 3 years. As soon as I said this, when I said this on the show, I said it, as soon as Matthew leaves and go to a different environment, something brand new, he's going to do well. And what did he do? He went over there to the Rams, won the Super Bowl. He's hurt right now. Hopefully he's doing well, and things like that. But I don't see him being a long-term quarterback to get y'all over the hump. I really don't. I think if they go into the draft next year, I think they should look into either drafting a quarterback or trading for a quarterback and get somebody that's going to, you know, spark some fire into that franchise, starting with the quarterback. Because I just don't think Goff is going to get it done for y'all.
I can piggyback off of that a little bit too. Like I told Sam on our podcast, I thought Jared Goff like somehow as a quarterback had almost no impact on this game, like in a positive or a negative way. He went for 165 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, but that's almost like what we want him to do for like as the Lions quarterback right now. If he's not making mistakes, he's doing his job because I think that's kind of the way it's set up right now on this roster. We've got a great running game. Our defense is coming along. If he's not making mistakes and he's just kind of, you know, playing that system, we'll be all right. So that's fine. Like, and we'll be all right, but he's not elevating anyone else. And I think that's what really makes a quarterback special is when you can look at your wide receivers. If you can look at Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams when he comes back, if Goff can make those guys better, which I don't really know if he's making them better. Like if we can find someone to make those guys a lot better and elevate everyone around him, that's when we turn into a real contending team. But as of right now, he's a system quarterback. Like that's just what he is.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna chime in if you don't mind, because again, with like Stefan, with being a former player in the league, you know, it's easy, and I'm not being critical to you guys. It's real easy to sit here and say, hey, well, listen, he's this or he's that. He's a little bit of an introverted guy. He's not an extrovert. Okay, he's a little bit of a quieter guy. He did get the Rams to the Super Bowl. You know, I call it the Ryan Fitzpatrick syndrome. Okay, Ryan Fitzpatrick was in Buffalo, came into Buffalo, was doing pretty well. He was a real easy guy to let go. Okay, and then 5 or 6 games into the next season, oh shit, you know, we need Fitzpatrick. I mean, so you know, you got to be careful what you do here and what you wish for a little bit. You know, if he ends the season on a little bit of a roll. You know, you kind of just got, and the players like him, and they're happy, and the offensive line's happy with him, and he's not going to dazzle you. But a lot of guys who have gotten pretty far in this league, you know, are not dazzlers. You know, they're just consistent, and that's what Goff needs to be. He's not going to dazzle you. He's I put him in this class of an Alex Smith. Okay, that's where I put him, and I know that's pretty good company. But you know, Alex Smith never played in a Super Bowl. You know, pretty damn good guy. 16 years in the league, hell of a quarterback, and you know, see what he was made of when he broke that leg and came back and made NFL player, you know, comeback player of the year. So it's easy, and I don't mean to criticize, you know, Stefan here. That's his opinion, and I get it. Okay, but he's also looking at it. Stefan's looking at it from the point of view, maybe here, listen to me, from living in Miami and going through 24 quarterbacks, as he said, in the last, 10 years, okay, and now having Tua, and they found a guy. So that's maybe where Stefan's looking at, and I respect that. I respect where he is a former player looking at it that way, and it's different from the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as a consistent thing. I'm looking at it as a guy who can, you know, get you, you know, 10 or 11 wins, but not going to dazzle you. He's not an extrovert personality. But, you know, if you let him go, man, maybe you're 6 games into next year saying, oh, shit, man, we shouldn't have done that. But, you know, so there's 2 sides of the coin. I respect Stefan's position because now Miami has rebounded and they have done a tremendous job, and they're getting hot at the right time. So there's 2 sides to the coin here, though, and you got to be a little careful. You let him go, and that was kind of these guys' guy, all right, for these couple of years, and then he's gone. So you got to be. That's a real critical situation. And where I do agree with Stefan is that this is a quarterback-based league, and I'll leave it at that.
I agree with actually both, Stefan. I think that we probably need to draft. I'd love to get a mobile dual threat quarterback, something that brings a extra dimension to the Lions offense. But at the same time, I think it's important to keep Jared Goff, at least for this year, to have an individual that if he's not ready to go, if you were to draft a rookie, that at least you have a veteran quarterback that can play this year and then just wait, just like Alex Smith did with Patrick Mahomes. You were just talking about it was a good quarterback to have while sitting back and grooming your young quarterback. I think you can have it both ways in that sense. But to take the Lions to win a Super Bowl, it's hard for me to look at Jared Goff and see that. Maybe you get a Lamar Jackson. If that would be fantastic. I think that would be outstanding. But right now we're picking 5th in the draft, not because of the Lions, because of the Rams. And you all have an opportunity potentially to get a quarterback if that's what the route they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, this is a QB loaded draft. I mean, I personally am kind of only high on Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. And so if the Lions aren't able to get one of those guys, the question is, who are they able to get in this draft that we're comfortable with? And are we comfortable with them starting in the next season? And to me, I'm not really happy with anyone down the draft board, especially as a starter, as a rookie. And so with that being said, you have to have a veteran like Goff that you can at least trust not to throw away games. The question is this team able to win a Super Bowl with a guy that's not really a game changer? Because at the end of the day, he's solid, but he's not, he's not a Jalen Hurts. He's not a Justin Fields in the sense that he can extend plays and make things, happen out of nothing. But, teams have won Super Bowls with, like Trent Dilfer starting at quarterback, Doug Williams, Brad Johnson. So I'm, split between, as you guys are saying, right? Like Jared Goff, he's a solid veteran, but for this team to be the most successful it can be, you need a game changer.
I got one because Matt brought it up, and he said Alex Smith, right? So let's think about the same.
I brought it up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, it's talking about what he had said. Okay, we talking about Alex Smith, right? So
Yeah.
Alex Smith, he left and went to Kansas City.
Yeah.
They started the whole thing and saying he wasn't aggressive enough. He wasn't pushing the ball down the field enough. It was like, oh man, he's not losing, he's not winning. So, but he was consistent. He was doing what he needed to do. So everybody was like, he's not pushing the ball down the field. So what happened? They moved him out, brought Patrick Mahomes in there, and then look what happened. So the same thing we all saying, like I didn't say cut him and nothing like that, but I just think that they need to bring in, draft a guy and say, hey, like you said, if you want to have a dual threat quarterback, because that's kind of like what the play action dual threat, not really like what's my boy Lamar Jackson, because he's just dynamic. It's just totally different. But something that's like a Patrick Mahomes, he can run, but he's not looking to run. He's looking to pass, but he can move and get out of the pocket. Like you said, Goff is not going to extend plays. He's not going to do that. If the sack comes, there, boom, he's going down. So I just think just bring somebody in that's going to bring that, like I said, bring that fire to the team. Goff is not. He's just not getting the guys over the hump. Like that's the only thing I'm saying. Like I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's just not that guy that I think you all are looking for.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was getting at. Exactly, because they need a guy who's going to take them to the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's my turn.
You've been quiet.
I've been quiet and waiting patiently. Goff isn't horrible, nor is he great. He is an above-average game manager quarterback. He is not a system quarterback. He will not win you a game. He will not lose you a game. You can say that those pick sixes cost the game, but guess what? Every single one of those damn games we lost when he threw pick sixes, if the defense would have got one damn stop, we'd have won. We'd be sitting here talking about a 7-win team instead of a 4-win team, at least. So there you go. You got to think about this. We are 4 to 7 players away on defense alone from being a good defense. We look good today because of the scheme, but we've seen this talent fail. I'm talking about starting level talent. I ain't talking about the bench players and the practice squad guys. I'm talking starting level talent. Are you telling me that you would like to take this defense into the playoffs this year? If you're telling me you want to take this defense and this squad of players into the defense this year, I'm going to say you're freaking crazy.
I say it's a rebuild. It was a reshuffle, and to get a rebuild, get a quarterback of the future. And that I like Jared Goff. I think he's fine, but he is like that Alex Smith. I think if you have an opportunity to get one of these young quarterbacks that's dynamic, that can be that extra game player that making the big time play, and you have an opportunity to get one, you don't pass it up. We had an opportunity with Justin Herbert. We decided to pass it up. That was a mistake. We've had an opportunity with Tua Tagovailoa. We passed it up. That was a mistake. We've had many opportunities. At some point, you got to pull a trigger and say, this guy is going to take us to, for the Lions to that next step, that next level. Do I think that we can win with this team? And if we were to build the defense, yeah, we could win. Are you going to win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff? I don't think so. That's my personal opinion. I would love to bring the Lions into the real century where you have a mobile dual threat quarterback that can extend the play and make those big time plays when you don't expect them to, because there's going to be times in games where you got a minute left in the fourth quarter. It's a tie game. You got to be able to have a playmaker to make a play like Aaron Rodgers did when he was facing Dallas in Dallas. So you have these game changing quarterbacks that just make that freakish play. You say, oh my God, like where'd that come from? I think that's something I covet here for the Lions. Is Jared Goff that guy? No. Is he bad? No. That's what I want. That's what I personally want.
I get it.
Will, hang on. Will, I sent you a link there. You can jump on. We got an extra spot instead of messaging. All right, go for it, Jeremy.
The only thing I wanted to say is there are guys that are as good, and Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud have both had games where they look like butt. Not only that, Bryce Young has been injured twice this season already, and Bryce Young is barely the size of Kyler Murray, and you want to put him here? I don't like Bryce Young at all. Stature-wise, you're talking about a size of player that will get hurt. Look at Kyler Murray. He's hurt for the Cardinals right now, and they got to play Colt McCoy.
I love
Colt McCoy. I love Colt McCoy.
Global quarterback, second round draft pick.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's guys that are better later on in the draft that fits that mold. There's guys like Grayson McCall who's got decent athleticism, moves out of the pocket, that played for Coastal Carolina, does have a big arm. There's other guys in this draft that nobody talks about. DTR, my buddy Brendan Cook was raving about him the other day, that he has better stats than Jalen Daniels. And he does.
I got a quarterback for you. I like the quarterback for TCU.
Oh, yeah. Duggan. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah, and then there's that Cameron Risling that isn't afraid for Utah to go out there and try to rush for that touchdown when they're near the goal line, because he isn't slow, but he isn't fast. He's one of those in-between guys. You don't have to have somebody that runs 4.4 speed to be a game changer. That's all I'm getting at.
Right. No, I wouldn't have called that play in that situation. I gotta hit you on that one, but good point. Yeah, a guy that I think could make a difference here. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some good guys in the draft, but the thing is, I mean, looking at this whole situation and looking at it from an outside view looking in, I mean, you're going to draft a kid who's 22, 23 years old. Quarterbacks don't peak in this league until they're 27, 28, 29, some later than that. And you got to go through the whole process again, man. Come on. It's like, I'm still looking back, and I know this isn't popular. Okay, this is not popular, and it's back to the Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jared or Alex Smith stuff. But Goff got the Rams to the Super Bowl, man. 10 points away from a world championship. And that 10 points makes all the difference in the world of whether, if he would have won that championship, they lost 13-3 to New England. So they scored 10 more points or 11 more points, and we're all looking at this differently now, right?
Right.
So you see what I mean? You can't, it's splitting hairs a little bit.
It is, but at the same time, like, what was it? A season later, he got benched for John Wolford. Like it's like that's the
thing. Who played so bad in one quarter that they brought Goff back in and he won that game.
You're not. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's reasons that there's sometimes there's reasons
to say that.
I mean, Goff is gonna be Goff. I mean, like, when it comes down to like drafting players, you're gonna get one of those once in a lifetime type players every year round, and I don't think Goff's going to be here long term, and I agree with everybody else. I think it's only right that we go out there and get a dual threat quarterback who can help our team and be electrified and, be a good spark offensively. But, I could think of some names like Caleb Williams, Will Levis, certain names, Anthony Richardson. It's certain names out there. You know what I'm saying? I
Lions
think
were
I
touting
think
his
it's only right that we
Anthony
do go
Richardson, by the
after
way.
a quarterback, but probably later rounds we probably could.
But Caleb Williams and Drake May won't be available till 2024 draft, which is when it's in Detroit. So you know what I'd like to see? Screw it all. Trade the later pick, which is going to be our pick at this point, because the Rams can't win if you gave it to them. I mean, they played the Aints and lost. Come on,
Stefan, I want to know.
But we
I
can do it like this though. I think we can build a defense through the draft. Easy. I mean, the Seahawks have done it.
Stefan,
We can
Stefan,
solve our problem with
get
that.
on
Stefan,
here.
I want to know.
Wait a minute.
What? Go ahead, Darcy.
No, hang on. Stefan, I want you to talk about Thanksgiving and what it's like to be a player, and what did you fly your family in, because you basically got a mini bye. Can you talk about that? Because I know you said you had to take your family out or something like that, but let's let the players talk right now.
When I was playing, you talking about when we was playing on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, what's the experience like? Is it different, or? And what did you have for? And everybody talk about what you're going to do for Thanksgiving and what's your favorite meal and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was a little different, because one thing you have to remember, even though all the games are televised, all of them, but one thing you had to remember was it was 3 games on that day, and you was the only game on at 1 o'clock. You're the only game on at 4 o'clock. You're the only game on at 8 o'clock that night. So it was like, okay, the TV was on you. So, after everybody eating food, having turkey and ham and stuff, and everybody just stuffed, they ready to go, the TV is locked. They don't have to flip in between channels or anything like that. It's the game that's on. You're the only televised game at that time. So I remember when we played against the Patriots one game on Thanksgiving. I had a pretty good game too, and it was just the atmosphere is just different. It's just there is just everybody's ready. You get a chance to wear the throwback uniforms. It was just fun, because after you got done, whether you win or lose, you're going home with your family, because like you said, I did fly my family up. My mom and dad came up, and it was just a great experience. I mean, just being out there, going on the field, looking at all the fans, everybody out there, they talking about food. They're like, hey, when we get done, we go on to eat turkey and ham and stuff and everything. So it was just a different environment at that time, different atmosphere, because the guys was just excited. Guys in the locker room was excited, because everybody wanted to play that game, and people was talking about winning that turkey and all this other stuff. It was special, and I think I really enjoyed playing on Thanksgiving, because I think that's how my name got out there even more, because it was just you're the only game on, and I think we played the 1 o'clock. I think we played the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock game. We never played the night game, and it was just different, and I really enjoyed playing on Thanksgiving, because everybody wanted to be the turkey at the end of the game, or the turkey or the chicken at the end of the game. So it's a great environment. I liked it, man. I really enjoy it, man. And I feel like they should put games on like that.
You weren't cooking though. It's your mom came to town. And she. What's your favorite? What's your favorite Thanksgiving meal? And then we'll go to Mark, and then everybody else at open mic.
My favorite thing. I'm real simple. I don't eat a whole lot of food, so it's a little simple. My favorite is collard greens and ham. Like, that's my favorite. So for this Thanksgiving, we're going to some family members' house and my wife's grandma's house, and she already knows. She's like, "Oh, Steph coming." She already gonna have a thing of collard greens, a side of collard greens just for me, because I love collard greens, and that's my favorite. Collard greens and ham is my favorite for Thanksgiving.
Hey, let's talk about that. The Rams pick went from 5 to 4. The Raiders won.
The Raiders won?
Yes.
Did the Raiders
just
really win?
won an overtime
Man.
touchdown pass.
Oh, did they really?
Yes. Just did. I'm watching. I have the game on right here.
Oh,
We have a
far out.
top 5 pick guaranteed now.
Is that what are you talking about? Wait a minute.
Yeah, because the Rams ain't winning another game.
Oh, come on, guys.
Well, Matthew Stafford looks to be out for the year now with the concussion.
What happened?
Exactly.
And then Cooper Kupp.
Major concussion. He came back too soon.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. I don't want to see that guy get hurt in the head.
No, I didn't say I wanted him to. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Yeah.
Man, they got that team is really, but I think they'll win a couple more games. I don't think they're gonna, not win anymore.
We need that pick. Don't jinx us.
Don't jinx us. They're done.
Getting back, I mean, when you sign your contract in Detroit, I think honestly, when you get drafted and you sign a contract, you're always thinking or talking about Thanksgiving. Second of all, it's always the first game of the day. It's always at 12 or 1, 12:30 or whatever it was. So it was always, but that's when you sign here and you're here, it was talked about, I think in the first week when I got in here and I signed my contract about Thanksgiving and how great it is. And I'm just going to echo what Stefan said. Yeah. There's nothing different. It's everybody's watching. You're on the spot. That's your day. They've been doing it since 1934. So they've been doing it a hell of a lot longer than Dallas Cowboys. That's kind of the pseudo team on Thanksgiving. I don't even like that. They just kind of joined the pack. Back in 1979 or something. That's bullshit. I don't like it.
They were the second team to ask for a game on Thanksgiving because they got tired of Detroit being by themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's horseshit. And excuse my language, but this show's okay like that. And I never liked that, and I wanted to get into that because that's Detroit's day. It's always been Detroit's day since Tiger Stadium, and it's horseshit that Dallas just decided to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, well, they play every Thanksgiving. That is a bunch of crap. Sorry, I'm getting this way. But I don't like that.
You're absolutely right.
It's Detroit's day, and it's horseshit what that America's team is doing when it's not America's team. America's team, and I'm not a huge fan of them, are the Buffalo Bills with red, white, and blue. That's America's team. Okay? Come on, man. But anyway, no, it's a great thing for Detroit. It's a great thing for the city. It's setting up for, as I said at the beginning of the show, a great matchup for Thanksgiving. It's the first game. It's the best game of the day. It always is, and I can't wait for it. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, man. You got a team. Go ahead.
You played for both teams, didn't you, Mark?
No, I didn't play for Buffalo. I never played.
Oh,
for
I
Buffalo.
thought you did.
No,
I thought you did.
No, just Detroit. Okay. But awesome. When you sign your contract, it's talked about in the first 2 days. I think Stefan can probably echo that. Hey, we playing Thanksgiving. Well, we playing Thanksgiving. So, it's just been a cool thing. It's a cool tradition. And, now we got a good one coming. So looking forward to it.
Now, the other thing I wanted to say about that is the tradition, everything else. There's a rumor that in 1963, when William Clay Ford bought the team, they asked him to relinquish the Thanksgiving Day game because they wanted to switch it out. And he said no. And that's when that commissioner says, good luck on never being in a Super Bowl again. But that's just a rumor. Just saying it's out there. The other thing I wanted to say is the America's team thing. If everybody remembers that playoff game when Detroit beat Dallas, that was when John Madden called the Detroit Lions and Barry Sanders the American team. Because they made a shirt about it. They made shirts about that. They sold that shit at the stadium. I know, I owned one. But anyways, fast forward 5 years, and then all of a sudden, Dallas and Jerry Jones becomes a public commodity and says, we're America's team. And it stuck.
Right.
Well, somebody look up when, and somebody do it now and find out when they started their Thanksgiving.
No, it was 1979. You were right.
I was right?
You were right. It was either 78 or 79. I was 8 or 9 years old. I remember that.
You know what? And it just turns out that way because I'm always a little bit better than what I think. So,
my coach used to say, "You want to know how good Darcy is? Just ask him."
Just go with your gut. Always go with your gut. If you're sure, go with your gut.
That's right.
Oh man!
How did Darcy play? Oh, he played great. Oh yeah, he played great.
Let's throw Humble out the window.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, anybody else got anything you guys want to talk about?
My mother's dressing was just the most. I still can't. My mom's dressing was number one. I've never had any. I don't know what the key to dressing is, you guys. for
Sage.
Thanksgiving? What I mean, really, what's the
Sage.
key there? Keeping it moist, I guess, right? And not just
And sage.
It's-
Sage is the best
sage.
seasoning.
Yeah.
Best
Good point.
seasoning for dressing in the world. And everything else, it makes it smell and taste like weed, but in dressing, it's amazing.
Okay. Gotta remember. Okay, all right, that's cool. All right.
See, myself living in Canada, I've never had collard greens, sweet potato pie. I've never even had grits.
You haven't lived.
No, I just never had it. You know, what I do is a nice prime rib. I do a nice prime rib, potatoes, and you know, sounds good.
Well, I make I gotta do this right now because it's my one thing that I do. It doesn't matter if you don't like cranberry sauce. My cranberry sauce is the best on the planet. I make it homemade. It's off the charts, incredible. You know how certain people are like, "Oh, I just don't like cranberry sauce." I'm like, dude, you haven't had mine. People will come to my house. They'll have my cranberry sauce. They'll be like, "Oh my god!" And there is a key to it, which I can't share here. And if I did share it, I'd have to kill you. So, but no, seriously, that's my thing. I do the best cranberry sauce on the planet. So I had to get that in.
Killer Cook asked Mark, "Did you play at Sacramento State?"
no, not Sacramento State.
And this is my
the
dad,
green and
guys.
gold of Sacramento State. Yeah.
My dad watches every show that comes on my channel, and he came in and says, "There's no conceit in Mark's family. He has it all." LOL.
That's great.
I love my dad. He's great. 73 years old. He was alive the last time the Lions won the championship. So, and I took him to his first game at Ford Field this year.
Did you go to?
I went to University of South Dakota. University of South Dakota.
Ooh, that's cold. From Florida to South Dakota.
The Coyotes. Woo! Yeah, it's a long story behind that. That we'll get into that some other time. long story behind that. But I say this though, that was the best move I could have made.
Good for you, man. Good for you. That's
How's
awesome.
your son doing now?
He transferred to another school. Forgot the name. It's a little funny name school. He transferred to another school. Why, I don't know. And he had an okay year. He didn't have the same years he had last year because of, you know, new coaching staff, new plays, stuff like that. But he didn't have a bad year. You know, it was an okay year compared to last year. Compared to his freshman year. Sophomore and junior was really, really good. His senior was okay. You know, I thought it could have been a lot better, but, you know, sometimes, you know, the mom get in his ear and she be, you know, talking, and I'm like, all right, you know, I'm not going to beat the drum with that. But, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad.
So we have a couple exits that has to happen. Mike Kimber, Micro Mike, he has to leave, and Sam says he has to leave. So I want to say thank you very much, guys, for coming in.
Yeah. Really appreciate it. Really
Thank
cool
you, Sam.
to Mark again. Stefan, love it, man. 2011 was one of my favorite seasons.
I appreciate that, man.
Hey, with that said, make sure you guys check out Chat Sports and Lions Nation Unite. Again, Herman Moore, we'll be on tomorrow talking some Detroit Lions. So check out Lions Nation Unite. Adios, guys.
Hey, y'all take it easy, man. Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mike.
appreciate it. Always
Plug
great
yourself,
to come on
Sam.
the show. Yeah, appreciate it. Always great to come on the show. It's great to talk with all you guys. It's great to meet Stefan Logan. Part of my childhood watching the Lions and, you know, growing up, and it's just an exciting experience always to get on the show. Check out the Forward Down the Field pod. We bring a lot of a younger perspective to the Lions. You know, trying to, you know, bring this new process with this new team and get this going down in the future. So check it out, and appreciate coming on.
Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off
Love
too
it.
with Sam, but piggyback off what he said. Everything, it's just awesome. I love doing this. This is everything I've always wanted to do. So nice to meet you, Stefan. I think I've met everybody else. Actually, I haven't met you, Jeremy. So nice to meet you too.
This is my first time being on with Darcy since you guys have been coming on. I enjoy podcasting myself. Check out mine sometimes. I'll subscribe to yours. You subscribe to mine. Kneecap biting with Smoking Jeremy B on YouTube.
We will. See you guys.
I appreciate y'all, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna sign off too, guys. I'm gonna go, and I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I always enjoy it. Darcy, thanks for having me.
One second. Stay on for a second. Please subscribe. do a Jimmy Superfly Snuka off the top of the dresser right on the bed and like, share, subscribe. Detroit Lions News Show on YouTube. Please subscribe. Please, please, please.
Yeah, please do that for him. Though.
I'm just going to answer that for you, Mark. It says, I think Mark retired before I was born. Yes, Killa, because you're not even 30 yet.
Okay, so this is the 4th edition of the Detroit Lions News Show. Happy Thanksgiving, and let's get a win on Thursday. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Gobble, gobble.
And here we are with the Detroit Lions, and we have our co-host. It's just myself, Darcy Maville, the real deal Maville.
He keeps playing like that and forcing all these turnovers. I think he could maybe get his name in the conversation for defensive rookie of the year. I don't think that's crazy to say.
Joseph's really been great. 10 tackles, 2 interceptions.
At the end of the day, they escaped with a win, and you got to be happy about that.
Detroit Lions, the victory yesterday over Chicago.
You got to minimize the big plays, and I think we did that today.